All right, you're ready to go.
All right. Hello, everybody. So today we are going to dive into portraits, layouts, and book builder features. This is going to be recorded. We're going to send it out and it'll kind of follow the webinar that we did before um, earlier in November. So let me share my screen. All right. So again, this is a demo site, but today we are going to go through, we're going to start with portraits. So under manage assets, under portrait images, once your portraits have been rendered, they're going to be right here. So just a note, if you have a retake day at your school, so if we come and take original picture day and then come for retake day, those images won't render until after retake day, and it can take 1 to 2 weeks after retake day to get on the site. So just look for those after retake day. If you didn't have a retake day, or if you usually don't have one, they should render after original picture day. So once your pictures are rendered, they're going to be here. A couple of things to look for while you're proofing. You want to always check right here in the beginning your unassigned folder. And that is because once you start removing students, if you do that, they will fall into the unassigned folder. So before that starts happening, you'll want to check your unassigned folder. You're not going to have this many to look through. Your unassigned folder should be on the one screen, but go to your unassigned and see if there's any students in here that don't have a name. So like say if Josh Dakota had 0101, like he just didn't get identified on picture day. So you'd want to go in and fix his name. These are also students or teachers that do not have a place a sort yet. So they're not in a grade and they're not in a teacher or a classroom. So you would want to click on their picture if you need to change their name, or on their name, not on their picture. So click on their name. And then if you need to change their name, you can come in here and make a change. And then their group affiliation, this is where you would put where they need to be. So if this is a staff member, you can come in and, or say you're going to put it under TCH for teacher, then you'll hit save and they will go to that group. And then same here. So if you need to assign this student to a teacher, you want to add it, you want to save, and then they will disappear. On this one, I actually forgot to hit add and then save. And now they disappear out of unassigned. So the only images that should be in unassigned are if you go into a grade or a teacher, depending on how you're flowing, and you have a student that no longer goes there. Maybe they were just there for original picture day and you don't want them in the book. Then you can click on their face instead of their name, and it has removed from this group, which you can click again if you accidentally do it. But if you are wanting to remove them from the group, you would then move up to your right hand corner, remove subjects, and it's telling you that it's going to go to that unassigned group, and then you'll hit OK and it'll go to the unassigned, and they won't flow in with your group. Okay, so then you may also find that they're in a grade, but they're not in that teacher. So you can always search subject up here. So if you're missing a student and you're like, I know that Blake was photographed on picture day, then you can come in here and find Blake Bolin and see that he is in the wrong group affiliation, and you can put him where he needs to be. So you can put him in his group, hit add. You can also change his name. So if for some reason his last name was misspelled, you can come in here and fix his name. You do sometimes have to click use a nickname instead to allow you to input right there and hit save. And then that's going to correct him and put him in the right group. But this is a great place if you are missing people to start right here and search. And you don't have to put in the whole name, because sometimes you may have a misspelling. So sometimes it's better just to put in a few letters and then look and see where they are, if they're on there, and how to find them. So you can also, so as far as staff goes, sometimes you will have your grades come in for your staff as staff, STA, TCH, ADM for administration, principal, all the different associations that we could possibly have. So if you have that and you're needing to put them in a different spot, then so here's like grade STA, but then you also have grade TCH, and there's a PRI somewhere, PRN for principal. So if you're needing to combine them, whichever group, you can either create a group, which we kind of went over before. So you can create a group and maybe do staff to flow. And then you're going to add subjects, and you're going to go and find those groups right here under select groups. So you're not having to like type them in and find them individually. And so you'll come in here and go to your staff, and you'll find your staff, and you're like, okay, I want all of these except for him because he's an admin, and I'm going to put him larger on his page. You're going to add them to the group. Then you're coming here to add subjects, and you're going to go to your TCH, and you are going to add them to the group as well, whoever you need to. So they will flow as well, add to group. And so now you have your staff to flow, and then save that group. I already have a staff to flow too. Okay, so you're going to hit save. Now you have this as a creative group, and when you're ready to flow those staff members, then you can go in and work with them. You can also, if you're wanting them to flow in a different order than what is on here, you can move them individually within here. So if for some reason, like if Mr. Atwood right here is the principal and you want him to flow first, and then maybe your assistant principal, these arrows that are above the staff members can move their image over. So above Eric Atwood, I'm going to hit this, and that's going to move him to the first position. And then say Mrs. Butler is the assistant principal, and I want her next, even though it's not alphabetical now. Principal, assistant principal, and then you have everybody else alphabetical in there. So that's how you can move staff around. If you add a staff member, so if you come in and you add a new record and you add an image, you want to make sure to mark staff right here, and that will put them above the student designation and allow them in this staff folder to flow alphabetically. So if you have some staff here at the end that is a B and a C and they're not alphabetical, click into their name and just double check that staff is marked. And if it's not, hit staff, and then it'll save it and re-alphabetize them. So that's just kind of one of those little problems that you can run into sometimes when you're working with your staff. Okay, so another thing sometimes that can happen, and I kind of showed you with the staff, but just to think about it with a different grade. So kindergarten, sometimes we don't have their teachers right when the school sends us data. And so they may just all be clumped under just the grade, and they're not separated by teachers yet. So that yet again, you can create a grade or create a group for them. And the fastest way to move them over to each of those teachers is to do the same thing that I did right here with add subject. So you would go to the 00K. Where is 00K? And then you're going to find those students that are in that particular classroom, add to group, and then you're going to save. And then that will be that teacher's group that you'll be able to flow later. So that's a way to kind of mass move students or staff so that you can get them into one group so that you can flow them. Okay, so, and then I mentioned adding a new record, but just to kind of go over that again, if you are in a grade and you have a new record that you're needing to add, so you went and took a picture of them, or their picture came from their last school, come in here, add their first and last name, add their image. And so when you come out here, if you have several of them, I would go ahead and upload them and have them over here on the left. But then you can also, if you didn't do that ahead of time, you can hit the upload, browse your local files, go out and find that image, and then add it to whatever designation you want to. It's going to upload, and then it'll ask you if you want to use that image for this particular record, and then you'll hit save, and now he's in there. So that's how you add a new record. If you're needing to put anybody into the group, you'll just go into that group wherever you're wanting to add them first, and then add a new record. And then, and as you're going through, make sure you're making sure everybody's name is correct, spelled correctly, in the right grade, in the right teacher. And then when you're ready to proof, I always suggest to get help with that. So click on the teacher name that you're needing to proof, export over here in the top right hand corner. It says PDF, export as PDF. So you're going to click that, and it is going to download a PDF of that class that you can email to that teacher, or you can print it and put them in their boxes, but say, hey, make sure everybody is in your class that's supposed to be in your class, names are spelled correctly, just to kind of help you out with that. Get them back and make any changes that you need to make. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that is how you export. I know that was one of the questions somebody had. So that's how you export the classes to be proofed. And then you should be ready to start flowing. So let's go now to let's go look at creating a portrait layout. So I'm going to clear this so we can start. Well, let me go to a different page. Okay, so over here on the left, you have those layouts that you can drag and drop onto the site. I have some that I have favorited, but you can look through those others, but you can drag and drop. And what I like to do is do one side. So I'm going to create my portrait panel on this left-hand page, and then I'm going to copy and paste it onto the right-hand page. So I'm not doing all the work twice. So I'm going to start here. Couple of things that you can do to your portrait grid. When you click on the grid, no matter where you click, your tools are going to come up. So I'm going to go to the middle tool, and you can change your portrait frame if you want to do round. This is rounded corners, and then that's the rectangle. So I'll do rounded corners. You can change your border color, thickness, all of that. Under portrait frames, you can, under portrait size, you can change the size if you want to. So if you have not like a whole lot of students in each class, then you can make the head size a little bit bigger. You can also leave room at the bottom for candids. So that was in portrait sizes. You can change the size, and you can go back and forth too as you're playing with it. Sometimes it is you want to play a little bit. So like this is where you can add rows or columns. So if you don't need as many rows or you need more columns, you can change that. You can change the horizontal and the vertical spacing. I am going to change the name placement first to under, and that usually kind of changes this a little bit. So I'm going to change that to under. And then, like I said, you can come in here and you can just play and make changes as you want. So you kind of get it how you want it. And then say you want some candid images at the bottom. Then you can come over here under your frames and shapes. Image frames is what, allows your images to be dropped in to your frames versus shapes. You can come in here and you can add a couple of boxes. I just copied and pasted. I just used my keyboard shortcuts to do a copy and paste so that same size box is there. And then I'm going to come up here. And so this is just essentially making all of your changes before you save it as a custom layout. So I'm kind of working up to, hey, this is how I want all of my portrait pages to look like. So I'm making all of the changes now. So I just grabbed that box and extended it over. You can now see that it's over the teacher box. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to go up here to order, which is a box on top of a box. And I'm going to send it to the back so that the image box will come forward. And then you can make all of your changes here to your headline as well. So you click in, I'm going to hit Control A to select all, and I'm going to put Mrs. Ashley's first grade. You can come in here and make all of your changes that you want to make. You can change the color of this box. Just kind of make sure when you're selecting, like right here, I have selected the text box. If I move over a little bit, now you can see the blue lines all the way around the shape box, and I can come in here and I can change the fill color to, a color I may want that goes with my theme, or really any of the colors you can change it to. Okay, so then I work with this, I get it how I want it, and now I'm like, okay, I think this is how I want it to look. I always like to pull it off of the center line a little bit. This is how I want it to look. I do want to make sure that I have these lined up. So I'm going to hit my shift key and select them both and align them to the top just to make sure they're even. I'm going to go over that in a little bit more detail later. But now I have it how I want it. So one thing that you can do, you could just grab everything and copy and paste and move it over. You are going to have the issue where now it's not mirrored necessarily. So I'm going to delete that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything on the page and I'm going to hit Control C, or you also have these features up here. So if you're not good with the keyboard shortcuts, then you can hit copy right here. So you're going to copy it. Then I'm going to come up here to more actions and I'm going to mirror the page. So it's going to mirror it over. And then I'm going to hit Control V and I'm going to paste what I had just done. And that's kind of a trick to be able to get your design on both sides, but the mirrored view, especially if you want like both teachers on the outside. So that's how you're going to work with that. Make sure everything looks like you want it, and then you can save it as a custom layout. So up here under more actions, you can save as custom layout. And this is where you're going to name it. So you may, whatever it is, I'm going to name this class pages. And go ahead and keep it single page left and right, just in case you just need to use one or the other, and hit save. And that's going to save it as a custom layout. And then you're going to be able to pull those onto the pages later, just like this. And then you can just go in and make your changes with the teachers' names and grades as you need. And you all probably saw, let me hit save again. I think those orange messages come up. I'm so used to ignoring them, but I do want you to notice. Okay, so your element is placed on the trim line. Please move your element or baby cut off. This is just a warning, and you're going to get it probably on almost every page that you have. It's saying that it's, past the cutoff print line. And I did that on purpose because I do want it to bleed off the edge. So you may get that message. And as long as you're looking at your page and once you preview it, everything that you want printed is on there, then you're going to be fine. The messages can get a little, so I just wanted to let you know about that. Okay. So now we have our custom layout, and now we can start. We've already proofed our portraits. We now have a custom layout. So now we can flow those images onto the page. So let's go and I think, was it Ashley? Yeah, I think I was going to do Miss Ashley. I have her on a different page. Let's do okay. Let me go back and undo her. And that's how you unflow if you need to. You just click on that portrait grid if it's already flown and then hit unflow or reflow. So if you've gone in and made a change, then you can reflow that. All right, so I've now dragged Sarah Ashley's class onto the page. And as you can see, it has flown alphabetically onto the page. It will leave out the empty picture boxes. So those will just not be there. All right. So now to finish it off, you can add your candid images, obviously, but to get the teacher larger right here. So when I dragged and dropped this group, I just grabbed this whole little area right here and dragged and dropped. If you are wanting to manually place somebody, you're going to go to the group that you're looking at. So here's staff, and there's this little triangle beside it. You're going to click on that little triangle, and it is going to open up all of the pictures. And so here's Sarah Ashley. So I'm going to grab her face, and I'm going to drag and drop it into the image box that I have right there to manually place her onto the page. So that's how you manually place your teachers or really any of your portraits onto the page. So grab the whole group to flow and use the little triangle and grab their face to manually place them. Okay, so let me see what else I was going to show you. Okay, so if, for instance, I'm going to make these a little bigger and a little wider. And so say for some reason, like you're wanting this teacher image to be larger and kind of in this space right here, you can edit these boxes. Or if you want this student to flow right here instead of right there, this is just ways that you can edit. So you're going to click on your tools and you're going to edit image containers, which is that bottom option. And then you can click those boxes away. So you're going to click, uncheck the boxes, and then they're going to disappear and no longer be there to be able to flow. So that's an option that you can do to kind of edit those containers. I mean, do whatever you want to these pages, to portrait pages. If you want to get creative, you can, but that's how you edit those and get a little more flexibility there. Are wanting to flow your teacher in with your students. Some don't want I'm just undoing right now on my little actions really quick so I can show you how to flow your teacher with. So if you don't want that box set there and you want your teacher to flow in with your students, then you will, during your editing, you will put that teacher in with the group. And then when you drag and drop that group onto the page, you will have that teacher in the first spot. So they will be designated as staff. Remember when I showed you that? They'll be designated as staff, and that prioritizes them alphabetically if you put them in with the students. And so then now Mr. Atwood is the first one in the class, and then you have all of your students. So that's a different way that you can work with your teacher in the portrait flowing. You can also, all right. Zoom on sign. Okay, edit individuals. Okay, you can also edit individual boxes. So ideally, in this situation, if you like have a name change or you realize something, you would go back to your portraits and you would make the name change there. And then you would come in here and you would reflow just like that, so that name changes in here. If for some reason that doesn't help, or you're on here and you need to make a change for some other reason, you can create text boxes for these students. So like for this long name right here. If you don't like the look that this is a 2 lines and everybody else's is 1 line, you can come in here and hit the pencil, and then you are going to click on her image and then right click and do edit individual student name style. That is going to create a text box that you can then work with just like you would any other text box. So I just extended it out. And so now she's on 1 line. But if you, for some reason, do need to make some changes on the page to the individual name boxes, that's how you do it. You go to your pencil, you click on the student, you right click, and then edit that student name, and then you can make changes. And you can, I mean, it's just a text box. So if I came in here, I could make changes to the text as well, and then it would be reflected there. Now, if you are needing to, so this is for elementary schools or for middle schools that flow a class per page. If you are going to flow like all of 6th grade, all of 7th grade, then you're going to be flowing onto multiple pages. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to save. Remember, this isn't an autosave program, so make sure you save as you go. And I'm going to go to the next page, and I'm going to show you how to flow if you're flowing onto multiple pages. And so you would essentially do the same thing as far as setting up your portrait panels. So I just went ahead and created a multi-page group here. So this was actually one of our layouts that I dragged and dropped, and I changed some of the colors. And then, so now you're ready to flow. So you'll go to your portrait images, you'll select the grade that you're going to flow. I think I did it. Okay, here it is. And so then I'm going to grab the whole thing right here, and I'm going to drag it onto the first page, because you may even have multiple pages after this. And this box is going to pop up, and it's going to say, okay, the amount of kids that you just dragged over is going to cover 2 pages. Are you good with that? And I'm going to hit continue. Now, if this was more students and you needed it on the next 2 pages, it would have 18 and 19 clicked as well. And then you would hit continue. If you're getting an error message down here at the bottom, you either have too few boxes, too many students, something isn't jiving, like the numbers aren't matching up. And so you just need to fix it. But it may have you select more pages to flow those students onto, or it may have you select less. And then you're going to continue, and those students are going to flow over those pages. Now, if you do need to make changes with this, you don't have the reflow option because it is over multiple pages. You just have to unflow and then flow again. So that is just a little bit of a change between the flowing onto one page versus flowing onto multiple pages. So if you did make some changes and you're wanting that to be reflected, then you would have to come in here, unflow, and then make your changes in the portrait images, and then come back over here and reflow again. As far as the not photograph list, so in the last webinar, we showed you how to change whether you wanted the images to be empty picture boxes that says not pictured, or a not pictured list at the end. So this one's a not pictured list at the end, and it's really tiny right here. I'll zoom in on that a little bit. Here we go. So not pictured is right here. So sometimes it flows in a really odd place. Sometimes it will be like up here. Sometimes it'll be over faces. It really just depends on how many names. Some people have 50 names. Some, like if it's a junior class or something like that, they'll have a lot of names. So it may flow somewhere funny is what I'm saying. But what you can do is you can come over here and click your tools. So once you click on it, you'll get your tools, and you're going to copy it to a text box. And then you can do anything you want to with it. And then just come over here and delete that original one. And this, makes a scary message. Just hit agree, and it will delete that. And now you have your not pictured list in a text box, and you can change the size. You can delete some of the names out if you're not wanting them in there. So you can do anything you want to with it once you have that, your little text box. Okay, hang on. I've selected all somehow. Okay, so That's how you work with your not pictured list. And then, okay, and then something to note. Okay, now not everything is selected. Okay, so now you have your custom layout, right? So this and your custom layout, let me show you where those are just for your knowledge. So in your layouts, custom layouts is right here. So then when you're on another page, you want to drag and drop, you can. So at the point that you're looking at it and you're like, hey, I want to make some changes. I actually want to extend this and I want to do class of 2031 over here, and you're wanting to make some changes, you can make it to each individual one, which sometimes you will. So if this was the portrait custom layout that you put on the 8th grade pages, you're just going to come in and change the 7 to an 8. So you can make little changes like that. But if you're wanting to make big changes, I would suggest doing it in the custom layout option. So under Book Builder, you have custom layouts as an option up here. So if you go there, I'm going to hit OK. I realize that I have not saved my changes, and I'm okay with that. Then you want to make your changes here. So if you've decided, hey, I am going to, exactly what I just said, I'm going to extend this and I'm going to add a class of, I want something over on this other side, and I'm going to come in here and do class of 2031. And then I'm going to have to extend it because it was longer. And then I didn't spell class right. Okay. So I've made all my changes. And now I'm going to save this in the main custom layout area. So you don't have to create another custom layout. You can make your changes here. And then when you go back to your page and say you're wanting to add this to your next set of pages, that reflection is going to be made, and you don't have to make it to every single one from there on out. Oh, I did the wrong one though. This one. And you can just drag and drop portrait or layouts on top of each other. So now my change is made to my main custom layout area right here. All right, so now I'm going to get into some book builder features. So let's go to just a blank page. Okay, so one thing that you can do is set up styles. So under Book Builder styles, you have some styles that are already in here. If you picked a theme, then that will kind of be in here too. But you can create custom styles, and this just allows you to have a few less clicks if you're going to have like the same headline for all of your pages and you want the same color, the same font, the same size, then you can come and create a style and select that style when you're working on your page. And so it's just where you don't have to do all of the clicks over and over again. So let's say that we are going to do this one for special events. You really liked one of the headline styles that you did on another one. So we are going to create that headline style. You can base it off of something if you want to. But then you can also just come in here and do the font that you were wanting to do. So I'm going to do impact, and I'm going to do a really large one. And I'm going to do it white, which you're not going to be able to see right here as the preview anymore because it's white on white. And then I'm going to save. So then when you go to the page that you're going to be working on, and what I did was kind of mimic this one on page 2 and 3, which we created in the last webinar. And so then you'll just be able to add that. So let's go back to our page 20. And I am going to, my favorites. And you can favorite some of these as well. So I'm going to come in here and pull over this one because I did really like this one. And I'm going to, well, I didn't have to delete that. Okay. So now this is my headline box. So instead of going in and making all the changes, I can just come into style, go to my headline style and do special events, and it's going to change it to that font that I wanted. If I wanted to center it, I could have done that. So I could have made all those changes. And then that's how you use the style, is that you just go in here, go to style, and then you'll select the one that you made, and all of those changes will be there for you. So that's how you use a style and do a few less clicks when you're working on your pages. And then I'm also going to show you how to make multiple changes. And we did go over this in the first webinar too, but this one's so important to just be able to work quicker and on your pages. So say all of these orange boxes you want in a different color. Instead of individually changing them, we're going to select them all and then change them all at once. So, and yet again, right now I have my text box selected. I'm going to select slightly over to the right to get the shape box. I'm going to hold down my shift key and I'm going to select that box and that box as well. And then I'm going to go to my tools. I'm going to go to my fill color and I'm going to change that color. So that's how you do changing the color. Same with borders. So say I'm holding my shift key down. I'm going to select all of my image boxes on the page, go to my tools. I'm going to go to border and shape options. I'm going to make sure a style is selected. I'm going to do my thickness. And then I'm going to come in here to my border color and I'm going to pick, a color, a fun color that I want. And I'm going to click off and all of those have been changed. So that's how you can just use fewer clicks on your pages. And then we also want to make sure that we know how to line items up. So we have a couple of little, so you can see the little lines appearing on here, but it's really faster to use our alignment tools. I used them a little bit earlier, but what you need to do is get your first box where you want it and your last box kind of where you want it. And then select all three. And I'm going to move that one really far down so you can see what the alignment tool does. And I'm going to select all three of those. So I'm going to come up to my alignment tool. The horizontal and the vertical can be kind of confusing. So just look at the far right word. So you have left, center, right, top, center, bottom. So I want these to all align to the top, to the one that is the most top. I'm going to align it to the top. So I'm going to use this one right here that the right word says top, and I'm going to click top. All of those are going to pop up. Then while I still have them selected, you can tell there's a little bit more space here than here, and I want that even spacing. So the option beside it is distribute spacing. And then you do need to know horizontal or vertical here. So horizontal, horizon are lined up that way. I'm going to distribute horizontal space, and that center one moved over. So now I have equal spacing right there. So I'm telling you all, don't even try to get these things lined up on your page. So let's just say, say you're, adding some more of these. Also, make sure you select all, copy and paste, get them lined up. But it's just so easy to use these tools to make sure everything's lined up. So now I'm going to line these two up to the left to make sure, these two up to the right to make sure. And then you could go in and distribute spacing again just to make sure, but it really looks like I laid them really good. But if you're making a grid like this, use these tools because it is a lot easier to do that than sitting there trying to use your arrow keys and make it work that way. So, okay, I'm also going to show you some text wrapping in case you want to do that. So sometimes that can be a fun tool to use text wrapping. I'm going to change the spacing alignment to be 0. I don't want that letting. Okay. So, and if you do, like this came in formatted, like you can come into this spacing alignment and I got rid of the letting right there. But you can, do different things with this as well in your spacing alignment tool. So I'm going to move this. So say I want this text to wrap around this box. You want your box in front. your text box behind, and then select your text box. And if it was the opposite, you would just, with that order tool up here, come up and make sure that, it's to the front. Then you're going to hit your box. You're going to go here, text wrap, click that little box, and it is going to wrap around that box. So it's just something fun that you can play with. It's just a fun little thing. So that's text wrap right there. So make sure the text box is behind it. Go here, go to text wrap, click it, and then you're good for your text wrap. And then you can also, and you all may have noticed in the past, let me delete this really quick. Okay. I'm going to undo that. All right. So actually, let me pull over. Okay, let me pull over this one instead, because this one has a lot of text right here. So say, for instance, you want columns for your information right here. So you've typed this long message and you're wanting to put it into columns. When you have too much text in a box, it's always going to give you this little plus sign. So if you hit the plus, puts that additional text that is hidden in an additional text box. So if you're not wanting to make columns, it's kind of frustrating. And you just need to know, if you have that plus sign, that there is text hidden somewhere and you need to make your text box bigger. You need to make your font smaller, but just so that you can see all the text that's in the box. But if you purposefully are like, hey, I want to make this in 4 columns stretching through here, you get the size of the column that you want. And then you're going to hit this plus sign. It's going to make another column. You're going to hit the plus sign, and you're just going to keep hitting that plus sign until all of your columns are made for that story. And then the same thing, hit your shift key, and then you can come and align them, distribute spacing, and then you've got your columns for your story right there. But that's what that plus sign is. And this is a tool that you can use if you're wanting to make columns. That's what that plus sign is for. Also, make sure that you use spell check. So under more actions, there's a check spelling option. So as you are proofing, kind of final editing thing, just make sure you're checking that spelling. And it's going to, you can ignore, you can add, you can change, you can do all the things, but just make sure you're checking that spelling. Because once you've worked on these pages, like, the doesn't even look like it's spelled correctly anymore. It's just like you can't see some of the mistakes sometimes when you've worked on it for so long. And then you can also, this has been a common question lately that Lindsay and I have been getting, is about adding your own background to the site. So if you have a background that you're wanting to add, then you can. If you want to create it in an outside program, if you want to create it in like Canva or something like that, you just need to make sure you create it large enough to cover the page. So I've got one that we have uploaded right here under background. So these were 2 that were created in Canva, and I'll show you just how to place them as a background. But this was made as a full
page is frozen.
For that whole spread. So I'm going to drag and drop it onto the page. And then I'm going to go to the tools and set images background. And then I'm going to do full spread. And it is going to add that image as a background. So I'm also going to do my grid lines off so you can kind of see what that looks like back there. But the good thing about adding these images as a background and not just placing it on the page and dragging it and making it really big over the whole thing is that your page numbers are now pulled forward, and it is a full bleed. So it is going all the way to the edge, and you're not going to accidentally have like a white trim line thing when the book prints. It goes all the way full bleed to the edges, and then your page numbers are coming forward. If you do have a dark background, you may want to change your page numbers to white or a different color that's going to pop a little bit more in master pages. But otherwise, that's how you apply that background. And then you can also do embellishments in Canva or an outside program as well. So these are some embellishments that came from that. So you just kind of drag and drop, save it as a PNG transparent background, and then drag and drop it. And then you can, use it on your pages. When you're working with, I'm grabbing the corner and kind of working with it just because I'm familiar. But like if I did this, it would cover it up. You just kind of have to play with getting it within your box and the size you want without cutting like a little piece of it off. When you're kind of importing some of those embellishments, but they're fun and you can create things and import them all you want. And then just to kind of just show you a couple things with your images as well. So, and I didn't think to upload a dark image, but if you have an image and so let's say we're, adding an image here to the page, when you click on your image, when you double click on it and you're zooming and you're working with it, just keep in mind our image boxes allow full flexibility. So you could move it to where it's not in the image box anymore. So when I select this right here, you can see there's a gap between the end of this image box and the end of this picture. You can fix that by hitting fit. You can fix it by, just moving it and making sure that you're kind of in that box. But just keep that in mind if you're realizing you thought things were lined up and there's one is like a lot shorter, but you're like the image box is the exact same. That may be your reason. So just go in there and work with it and get it to fill all four sides with that. But also you can come in here into your tools and image effects, and you have some options here. The brightness is probably the most common one. So if you have kind of a darker picture, you want to come in here and brighten it a little bit, then you can use that bright. But there's also other options in here too. And sometimes if you're wanting to do something fun with transparency, you can play with that. You can rotate the image, but this is like you're rotating the whole box and this little area right here. But you can do a percentage. So if you're wanting to kind of offset them a little bit, you can kind of do the same angle in here with that. And you can do black and white, sepia. You can, make some changes in there with your images as well. And then one more reminder. I know I went over this on the last one, but your resolution, just make sure that you're getting good sized images because all these images look great, right? They look very, very similar. If you click on it, this is going to tell you the max print size. So this is 18 by 24. It's a huge image. You can do anything you want to with it. This one, 1 by 6 by 2. So if I tried to drag and drop this into it, you're going to get this message that the photo can't be larger than its max print size. It makes it sound weird, but it is saying that is too low res of an image for the box you're trying to put it in. So it might fit in this little box, but it's not going to fit in that box. It's not going to fit in that box. Max print size on this one, 3 by 2 by 4 by 3. So this is where you can figure out if you are having issues with pulling and saving images onto your page, it's probably your resolution and that max print size. You may have to reach out to whoever gave you the image and see if they can send it to you in a larger way, actual or original, if they're texting it or emailing it. That will help a lot. And then if you get to a point, so say you're playing on this page and you're like, wait a minute, this is not the background that I want for this page. You do have options to clear certain elements on the page. So under more actions, if you go to clear page contents, then you can clear the elements, you can clear everything, or you can just clear the background. So if you're just wanting to clear the background, you can come in and clear that background. And then you can also add something on top of it. But if you're like, I just want it white until I make a decision, then you can come in and clear. And you can clear, you can also drag and drop and get everything deleted off the page, but then you can use this more actions and clear the page contents as that as well. If like you do on the right and the left, then it's going to clear everything. So that's an option just to kind of help you start, back from scratch if you were needing to. Okay. So, whew, Lindsay, what did I forget?
I honestly, well, considering time, I don't think there's much that you did forget. You did an amazing job. I had a great question come in and I just put an answer in the chat about the dimensions of a spread for Canva. And I put in there a template as well that you all are welcome to use. That is specifically formatted for a background. As long as you download that as a PNG in the highest resolution possible, assuming you're using the Canva Pro, it should be sufficient to set as a background. Um, I don't think there's anything else that you forgot, but we can go ahead and open it up to questions. You're welcome to
Yeah.
type them in the chat, or if you can come off mute and we can work through any questions you might have.
And I'll just be looking through my notes and see if I had anything else on here that I ended up not covering. I can just talk about master pages while you're waiting to see if anybody has a question as well, because I did mention that on the background situation. If you
Yeah.
have a dark background and you're wanting to change your, my goodness, where am I going? I'm going to my images background. So where this is really dark right here. So that's page 20.
You could always adjust the transparency of a background too, if needed.
Can you do it once it's on the page?
No, you have to do it before
Oh,
by
okay. Okay.
clicking
I
on
was
the
like,
settings.
I don't know how to do that. Okay, perfect. But yeah, so if you go to Book Builder Master Pages and you create a new master, and maybe you're going to call this one White Page Numbers, Double Page Spread, and you're going to base it on Master Page 1. Then I'm going to clear this background. And you can, if you're going to use that background for like all of your pages, you can have that background on there and then apply it. But for instance, on here, if you're just wanting to change like the font size or color, you can come in here and change that. Change it to white. And you can change the position as well. I'm just going to make it a little bigger so it's obvious when we. Okay. And then. And then you go to your ladder diagram. And remember, we have those 3 views: detail, thumbnail, and list. I'm going to go to the list view. And is that page 20 or 22? 20?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And so I'm going to select 20 and 21, and then I'm going to go down, and you can select all of them. You can select, oh, hang on. It's not ready yet. Yeah, it was. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the page number saved correctly on that master page.
Oh, did it not? Let me go see. Let's see. Master page. It's not letting me set it for some reason because it says the proof's not ready. So
Yeah.
it's still just saving and mad. But once you, let me do it on a different page that is ready. Yeah, we can do it on. Yeah, we do on 22. Okay. So are any other questions coming in?
No.
No.
Anybody else have
Okay.
any questions? Please come off mute. Or if you feel more comfortable, type in the chat. Yeah.
So then you set master page, come over here to your white page number, save name, hit save, and then that is going to update whatever page numbers that you selected over here. Okay, so it didn't change it to white, but it did up it to the 15. So you're right, it didn't,
Yeah, the page, the color didn't change for some reason.
yeah, it didn't save my white page numbers because it should be white right here. That's why I went back in. Um,
Maybe choose that white. Yeah.
there we go.
Now it is.
There
But
it is.
once you change the color on the master page itself, it will change on wherever it's applied. So had
Yeah.
you changed it there, it would have changed it on
Yes.
21 and
So
22.
now we'll be able to go to
Yeah.
22 and
Yeah.
23 and see that
Sorry. Yeah,
change.
you're there.
And don't forget to, you can put your page numbers in here and hit go. And so now we have the page number 22 and 23 down at the bottom in white, larger. Yes. All right.
All
Any other
right.
questions or anything that you can think of, Lindsay?
No, I don't think so, unless we'll give it another shot. If anyone has any questions, we can hang out and stay on for you or
Oh, and I did want to mention one thing. We can't see it as when we're signed into our but I did a screenshot. Hang on, let me bring it up really quick. Of the chat feature. And some of it, I know that a lot of you are using it already, but we do have that chat feature down in the bottom. So if somebody's available to chat with you, if you have questions, you're working on the site, then you can just send them a chat and they will respond to you. So I had taken a picture of it. So right down here, this live chat, then you can just click on that, type in your question, and somebody will be able to help you
yeah,
on
and
that.
then the
So
help
that's kind
button
of
as
an
well.
active thing right
And if
now.
you, yeah, yearbook support is also available. Their central time, so it's 9 to 3, but they also respond to their email or the chat or the phone number. If you don't know who your yearbook rep is, just let us know and we'll make sure that we get you that information as well.
Yes. So I hope this was helpful. And reach
Yeah.
out to your
Thank
rep
you
or
guys so
to,
much for joining. We'll post
yeah.
this on the YouTube too.
All right. Thank you
All right.
guys. See
Bye.
ya.
And now, just to make sure, I'm going to stop the recording.